The standard of proof refers to the level of certainty and the degree of evidence necessary for a party to prevail in a legal proceeding. Different types of cases and legal systems require different standards of proof to ensure fairness and justice. The standard of proof determines how convincing the evidence needs to be for the judge or jury to decide in favor of one party over the other. Key standards of proof. 1. Beyond a reasonable doubt. AC. Definition: highest standard. This is the highest standard of proof used primarily in criminal cases. It requires that the evidence be so convincing that there is no reasonable doubt in the mind of a reasonable person that the defendant is guilty. B. Application. Criminal cases. In criminal trials, the prosecution must prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to secure a conviction. Explanation to jury. Judges often instruct juries that this standard does not require absolute certainty, but does require a very high level of certainty. C. Examples. Murder trials. To convict a defendant of murder, the prosecution must prove each element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt, such as intentional killing and lack of lawful justification. 2. Clear and convincing evidence above definition. Intermediate standard. This standard requires that the evidence presented by a party be highly and substantially more probable to be true than not true. B. Application civil cases. Often used in certain civil cases, such as fraud, wills and probate disputes, and cases involving fundamental rights where a higher standard of proof is deemed necessary. Higher certainty. The evidence must be clear, convincing, and leave a firm belief or conviction in the mind of the judge or jury. C. Examples. Fraud cases. In a fraud lawsuit, the plaintiff must prove by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant knowingly made a false representation with the intent to deceive. 3. Preponderance of the evidence. A. Definition. Lowest standard. This is the lowest standard of proof, requiring that the evidence shows that it is more likely than not, i.e., greater than 50% certainty, that the claim is true. B. Application civil cases. This standard is primarily used in civil cases, including personal injury lawsuits, contract disputes, and property claims. Balance of probabilities. The judge or jury must be persuaded that the factual basis for the claim is more probable than not. C. Examples. Personal injury. In a slip and fall case, the plaintiff must prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the property owner's negligence was more likely than not the cause of the injury. 4. Balance of probabilities, OEA. Definition. Civil law. Equivalent, similar to the preponderance of the evidence standard, often used in common law jurisdictions for civil matters. More likely true. The evidence must show that a fact or claim is more likely to be true than not. B. Application. Civil disputes, applied in civil litigation to determine liability, obligations, and disputes between parties. Importance and implications of standards of proof. 1. Ensuring fairness and justice burden of proof. The standard of proof establishes the burden of proof that the party bringing the claim must meet. This helps ensure that decisions are fair and just based on the nature and seriousness of the case. 2. Protecting rights criminal protections. The beyond a reasonable doubt standard in criminal cases protects individuals from wrongful convictions by requiring a high level of certainty before depriving them of liberty. Civil liability. Lower standards in civil cases reflect the different nature of civil liability, focusing on compensation and resolution rather than punishment. 3. Judicial decision-making guidance for judges and juries. Standards of proof provide clear guidelines for judges and juries to evaluate evidence and make informed decisions. Consistency ensures consistency in legal proceedings by applying established thresholds for different types of cases.